whatever I just said, I'm not even going to add because that was just crap. Hey NFT community, and welcome back to NFT News Show. Now today we have something that's very interesting. We're pulling back the curtains of the NFT world and we're getting closer to the builders and influencers behind your favorite projects. So today we're interviewing a CEO for the first time. He's in charge of a company that hosts an all-in-one asset tracker. Now without further ado, let's introduce Haz. Haz, everybody, the CEO of Pluto. Haz, how's it going?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me and hosting this.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I just want to say thank you for your time. You're such a busy man. Before we dive into exactly what Haz is and what Pluto is, let's just talk about how we met. I believe we met at NFT NYC like that week, right?
Yeah, that was our first time actually meeting in person after crossing paths through Scrub Radio.
That's right. Yeah, Scrub Radio brought me to NFT NYC, and I guess Scrub Radio brought Haz to NFT NYC, and we're all connected for the first time, and it was such a dope experience. If I didn't go to NFT NYC, I would never met Haz, and Haz has a lot to offer the NFT community. So now that we got the intro out of the way, let's just dive into who you are. You are a young person, but living like a 45-year-old. Your life is established, clean, and pristine. Now, for any young viewers that we have, can you give us 2 actions you did or currently are doing that allows you to be on top or even ahead of financial freedom?
Yeah. So one of the very early things that I was taught was to save and invest as early and often as possible. I got into crypto back in 2013 and been fortunate enough to be around some people that were early pioneers in the space and gave me a very well established footprint to pursue my own career and my journey in the space. So I'm grateful for what I've learned early on and grateful for being around the people that were visionaries, in such a hectic time. And then allow me to do what I do today.
So your parents helped you have that financial mindset, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So in terms of me growing up and everything, never grew up wealthy or anything like that. My parents taught me to earn every dollar that I have and work hard for what I want. We came to America when I was early, like a little kid. You want to live the American dream, you got to work for it. So I was grateful to be raised in a household that taught me those principles and really humbled me to focus on what I want to achieve in life and work hard towards it.
Solid. All right, so that is the advice from Haz of how he is being financially responsible by listening to his parents, okay? So listen to your parents, y'all. Okay, so let's move on to question number 2. Let's talk about Pluto, and not the planet, guys. I'm talking about Pluto, the all-in-one financial tracking app that provides another action that viewers can take to ultimately become smarter with their finance. Haz, enough about me. Let's talk about your creation, Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto was developed back in 2019 as a private asset management firm, managing local assets for some businesses and private entities. And since then, we've expanded into creating services and tools for people in Web3 and crypto, NFTs, and also stocks, where they can essentially have an all-in-one platform that would give them everything they would need to excel in their investment journeys, whether they're brand new into investments or they're seasoned vets. We have tools that cater to all needs.
Now, you aren't just involved in collecting data and putting it all together for people. You also are involved in the NFT community. How has Pluto extended their service from Web 2 and moved that to a Web 3 presence?
So back to the early journey that I had in crypto. I got inspired a lot by some of these platforms and exchanges that were developing these tools and utilities for technology that was still being developed and actively being adopted. I saw the same approach when it came to NFTs, being relatively early in the NFT space and seeing the visions of people back in the early 2000s with Web 2 and even in the 90s and seeing what
Wow.
it took to bring those tools together is just what kind of inspired us to be at the forefront of the Web 3
Wow.
development and incorporate NFTs. So utilizing some of the I guess skill set for me and my team and what we found is lacking in the space. That's exactly what we try to combat and create for the space right now for NFTs.
That's so cool that you went back in time in order to launch yourself forward, because sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel is just fine, but maybe you just got to add a little chisel in order to enhance that wheel that's been so reliable.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's funny that you say that, because anytime people ask us, about the development of Pluto and the tools that we have, I always mention that we're not here to reinvent the wheel with anything. We're just here to more so utilize the services and tools that currently exist and add a little bit of changes to them.
Yep.
And advance them even further.
So, with your Pluto NFT, do you need to own it in order to operate your application?
Yes. So we did a little bit of a different approach when it came to creating a service-based utility, as opposed to charging people monthly for utilizing the platform. We're doing it based off of ownership of the NFT. So a lot of projects nowadays announce that they have various utilities and tools. Ours is Pluto. So you mint a pass, and that grants you access to the tools that we have. The current pass that we have is our boarding pass to Pluto, as corny as it is. But that's what grants you access to utilizing the asset management side and some of the basic tools.
Yeah.
In order to utilize some of the more advanced tools, like we have the fastest market data that's available to consumers through Pluto. Everything comes in, when you're in terms of market data for like Coinbase and crypto.com, et cetera. That data comes in at around like 600 to 800 milliseconds. With our platform, it comes in at 1 millisecond or less. So to utilize some of these more advanced tools, we do have an additional NFT that will be launching soon.
Oh.
And so in order to get access to the more advanced tools, you would need that additional NFT. But again, we're starting it off with the basics, having people kind of dip their toes and see what they
Yeah.
like and what suits them. And if they find that they need more, then they can
Yeah.
definitely get the next pass. Otherwise, if they find that the current tools match their needs, then they don't need that next pass. So we structured it that way, just kind of like subscription services have different tiers. This is exactly how we're doing it, but in terms of minting through different passes.
Now, let's carry on to the conversation to a more level ground that we all can relate to. During these bear market times, our emotions are a little bit lower than higher, and we're more scared. During these bear market times and across all assets, how do you stay stress-free?
That's a great question. One thing that I've learned very early on in the space is that there's always going to be highs and lows, and bear markets are 100% inevitable. If we didn't have bear markets, we wouldn't have markets at all. So I've been fortunate enough to be around long enough to see the crazy dips and crazy rises, and just know that this is just all a part of the game.
Yes.
Mentally, I try to anytime it comes down to numbers and seeing the rises and falls in certain assets, I always make sure that I don't over leverage myself when it comes to any of my investments. And also find that it's just nice to sometimes log off and just go outside and enjoy the summertime, at least at the time of this recording. Overall, I mean, when it comes to investments, I'm relatively stress free, or less stressed than
Wonderful.
most people. Just given that I prepare myself for what's to come, and I try to make sure that I at least don't over invest in any aspects that I can't afford to lose.
Wonderful. You guys really should listen to what Haz is saying. And you see that playback button? Just rewind it just like another minute and just re-listen to what Haz is saying. Listen to Haz because he is really successful at his age. Don't risk it to get the biscuit. Don't jump the ladder, especially these times. Those small wins are huge wins, okay? Especially when Haz said to log off online. I know we're all like Web3 and really obsessed, but logging off and touching grass is really good to reset the brain, even for a half an hour. So, moving on to question 4, looking ahead for Pluto, and I know we're always looking ahead, and like, can we just slow down? But looking ahead, will you have a panel or a booth at an NFT convention next year? Do you have a roadmap for presenting Pluto to the public?
Yeah. So for this past events at NFT NYC, we were sponsors at one of the events, and it went very well in terms of the connections that we made and the exposure that we got, and I'm very grateful for what came of that. moving forward, I think, in terms of the events that are coming up for NFTs, I think we might do it the same approach where we do like a sponsored event or something specific to Pluto. I don't know if we will do anything at the actual conference, just given that that those conferences are very quick paced, and
Mm.
people might not have enough time to sit down and get a full grasp as to what you're developing, what you're creating. So we do have future events planned out for our pass holders, exclusive to them. But yeah.
So there was already action from your brand already at the NFT NYC, and it was a sponsorship. We already been covering a lot of great questions and answers. We're about to wrap up the show, but we got 2 more answers that we need to get from Haz. Well, actually, there's about to be a lot of answers real soon. A lot of quick answers, one-worded answers. I'm about to ask Haz about 6 questions, and he's going to give me one-worded answers for each one. And they're pretty spicy questions, actually, too. Let's go with the rapid questions. The first one is, are we in a bear market or are we in a natural pullback?
Bear market.
Is Jerome Powell doing the best he can do right now? Yes or no?
No.
Oof. Which reality will play a bigger role in society? Augmented reality or virtual reality?
Augmented reality.
Oh, I am there with you. Okay, we got 2 more. Which is more supreme, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Bitcoin.
Spicy. Last one. What is your guilty pleasure?
Late night cruises.
Oh. Okay, so before we end our time, I always like to leave on a high note. What is a quote, a phrase, or a way of life you've been living all your life and it's been working? Can you share us a quote or phrase or a way of life?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite quotes is from Ferris Bueller, where it's essentially slow down in life and essentially take everything in for what it is, because if you don't enjoy the little moments, you might just miss them.
Beautifully said. Well, this was our first ever interview here at the NFT News Show. We've never done anything like this before. It's always been just us in this newsroom, and now we have a guest. And this guest is the CEO of Pluto, an all-in-one asset tracker, your NFTs, your cryptocurrency, and even all the other assets like your stocks as well. I am so honored to have Haz here in the NFT room, for he is the first one to give me a shot, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Haz, thank you so much for your time, and I cannot wait to meet you again in real life.
Pleasure's all mine, man. Thank you for giving me the space, and I look forward to potentially the next future interview.
Take care.